be able to give to somebody else, to be able to give something of myself to someone or something. That's the thing that brings me the greatest sense of my existence and of my life. Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Lech Lecha. We're entering into a new era. The world is built and destroyed. Tower of Babel come and gone. Noach, no longer here. Now we're into the era of Avraham Avinu. And the Torah begins with the first test of Avraham Avinu to show the greatness of Avram and what he did. Followed God. God came to him and said to him, Lech Lecha me'aretzecha me'laretzecha beis avicha. And picks himself up and he goes, follows God. What an amazing test, what an amazing person that he's willing to follow God wherever God tells him to go. Stop. Can you please read the second pasuk? God turns to him and says to him, You're going to be a blessing. I'm going to make your name great. You're going to have children. You're going to have fame, you're going to have fortune, you're going to have money, all the things you didn't have up until now you're going to have them. Who wouldn't have followed God? Why is this a testimony to the greatness of Avraham Avinu and to the greatness of what he was willing to do for God? When at the end of the day, the reason why Avraham Avinu did this was because of the promises that God made him. Who wouldn't do it for those promises? And then God says to him that those that bless you will be blessed, those that curse you will be cursed. And all the families of the world are going to bless you. If that's the case, that all the families of the world are going to bless you, then I use you as a source of blessing. Then what exactly does it mean? And those people that curse you, I'm going to curse. There's no people left to curse. If everybody's blessing, there's nobody left to curse Avram. So who is that referring to? There's a medrash that discusses what's the biggest test of Avraham Avinu. And the medrash wonders whether it's this test of Lech Lecha, or whether it's the test of the Akedah. What kind of crazy question is that? What kind of calculation is that? Of course it's the test of Akedah. The test of Akedah was a test of killing your kid. This is the test of whether you follow God. Big deal, but not as big as killing your kid. And if we're talking about sizes of tests, then really we should be talking about the test that's not even in the Torah. When Avraham Avinu allowed himself to be thrown into the Kivshan Aish, the fiery furnace, we don't even talk about that. That's not in the Torah. That's in the Medrash. Why isn't that in the Torah? So I think it's important to understand that we have a concept that there are two types of people in the world. There are givers and takers. Now, you make an assumption that when I say the word giver is going in this direction, and a taker is somebody who takes this way. But it's not necessarily true. Because you can be a giver and actually a taker, and you can be a taker and actually you're giving. When you give to somebody, but it's all about you, then you're really a taker. You go to visit somebody in the hospital and they're sleeping when you get there, and you went through a tremendous effort to finally get there, and you don't know when the next time is you're going to be able to come back and visit them. So you cough a little bit. So when they wake up and they go, oh, and you say, oh, are you sleeping? I'm sorry, Livy. No, I'm awake now. It's fine. You weren't there to visit them. You were there because of what you were going to get from it. Sometimes somebody brings you a gift. You don't want to take the gift. But you know that if you take that gift, that person's going to feel like $1 million. That person's going to feel so great that they were able to do something for somebody that they loved or respected or admired. Taking the gift, then, is not an act of taking. Taking the gift is an act of giving. And it's really about the type of person that you are. Are you a giver or are you a taker? Are you concerned and focused on other people, or are you worried about yourself? What God wanted was to turn Avraham Avinu from a taker into a giver. Avraham Avinu's beginning of his life, as is every human being's life, it's all about taking. It's ultimately all about receiving and taking. Your parents are giving you, people are taking care of you, teachers are teaching you. You're in yeshivas, you're in institutions, they're providing for you, they're giving you everything you need. It's all ultimately about taking. But what God wanted was, he wanted to turn Avraham Avinu into a giver. He didn't mind if he took things, but he wanted him to be a giver. And the way you become a giver is by getting pleasure from giving, is by realizing that this is the tachlis, this is the purpose. To give is the very thing, that's my life's breath. to be able to give to somebody else, to be able to give something of myself to someone or something. That's the thing that brings me the greatest sense of my existence and of my life. And Avram, God turns to Avraham Avinu, who says to him, Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha l'toivascha u'la'anoscha, that this is the source of all the pleasure and benefit. This is the source of all the sense of purpose and reality in your life. I want you to get pleasure from this. Not personal pleasure, but the sense of worth, the sense of value, the sense of that your life matters. Because you're giving away something. You're leaving your land, you're leaving your father's house, you're giving something to God. And that gives you that sense of purpose, of meaning, of why you're here, bichlal, in the world. The next pasuk just says that there is benefit from this. Things happen. What's going to happen is that God l'shmecha, your name is going to become great. You're going to have children. That's just the way it's going to be. But that's not the reason why this is happening. Lech Lecha. It's all about toivascha la'anoscha. This is the best thing for you. I want you to feel that this is the best way to live. And that's the way you transition from being a taker to a giver. That I am giving to something. And I am enjoying giving. I'm enjoying giving away my money. I'm enjoying giving away my things, my time, my emotions. I'm enjoying giving that away. Because that's when I feel alive, not because I'm getting a benefit from it, but because that's the purpose why I was put here. To be able to focus on others, to be able to give outside of myself, to be able to be there for other people. That was the Nisayan, and that's why this is considered the biggest of Nisyanis. Because to go from a giver to a taker is very complicated. To go from a giver to a bigger giver in the Akedah, that's big, but that's not as big as going from 0 to 90. Go from 90 to 100 is huge, but to go from 0 to 90, to go from a taker to a giver, that's huge. And that's why this is the first test, really, that's listed of the tests of Avraham Avinu, because this is what changed his entire existence. This is what turned him into a Baal Chesed. This is what made him into a person that was focused, completely focused on others, cemented this in. What's a mishpacha? Mishpacha is a family. The word mishpacha also comes from the word shivcha, which is a maidservant. A maidservant have to do with a family, because a maidservant means somebody who is there to give to others. That's what a mishpach is. A dysfunctional family is a family where everybody in that family is worried about themselves. Everybody's focused on what they can get. A functional family is where everybody in the family is worried about the next one. What do you have? What do you get? What are you doing? How are you benefiting? How are you growing? God promises him that all the mishpachos, anybody who is living in a functional way, they're going to bless you. But you should know that those people that are not living in a functional way, who are looking about it all about themselves, they're going to resent you and they're going to resent your existence. Mikalelcha, those people that curse you because they resent you, or I'm going to curse them. Who's going to bless you? Not every person in the world, but anybody who's functional, anybody who lives in a mishpacha, in a real mishpacha. And that's ultimately the legacy of Avraham Avinu. It's not merely just chesed. The legacy of Avraham Avinu is be a giver, a real giver. Somebody who takes pleasure in giving, who realizes that this is the purpose of my existence, is to be here for other people, to be here to give to others, to see their success and to see their growth and to see them become something. And when we live in a world of giving, there's a lot of benefits. Things happen, amazing things happen. But ultimately, it's about my desire to give to you. My recognition that this is my raison d'etre, this is the whole purpose of my life, is not to be here for myself, but to be a functional human being that's here for you. Everybody should have a beautiful Shabbos, a Shabbos of giving, and a Shabbos of pleasure from giving, of the realization, now I'm alive. And this is the purpose of my life. Have a beautiful Shabbos.